So I'm going to call the meeting for the Canby Planning Commission for August 23rd, 2021 to order, and we will start with an invocation. So let's bless this meeting and all who are participating. Guide us in making wise and sound decisions on behalf of the people of Canby. I'd also like to make a special note for the folks that are suffering in Afghanistan, our troops, and the population there. They can use all our support and prayers that they can get. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming. I don't know. When I was talking to Lainey this evening, she said that this might be our last in-person public meeting. We might be moving back to the Zoom meeting. Is that your understanding as well?
We're kind of just waiting to hear what the governor's order is next. At this point, we don't have any clear direction on that, and I don't know if this will be our last meeting. Okay. We're assuming it to not be our last meeting unless we're given some other instructions.
Okay. All righty then. There are no consent items, and we will move to citizen input on non-agenda items. This is your opportunity to address the Planning Commission on items not on our agenda. Each person that wishes to speak will be given 3 minutes. Staff and Planning Commission will make every effort to respond to questions raised during citizen input before the meeting ends or as quickly as possible thereafter. There are no minutes for us to review, no new business, so we will move directly to the public hearing. This is a remand of the appeal APP 21-02 of the subdivision SUB 21-02 application for Himmerling subdivision. To consider a remand of the appeal application APP 2102 for the Himmerling subdivision redesigned under the current zoning designation of R1, which is low density residential. And for that, I will read the hearing process. So the matter presently before the hearing body requires a public hearing. All interested persons in attendance shall be heard on the matter. If you wish to testify on this matter, please fill out the public testimony card and give to the recording secretary. At the appropriate time, when your name is called, please step forward to the microphone, state your name, address, and interest in the matter. For longer presentations, proponents and opponents may buy time from one another. In so doing, those either in favor or opposed may allocate their time to a spokesperson who will represent the entire group. You may be limited by time for your presentation. Generally, the applicant will have a total of 15 minutes to speak. The proponents will be given 5 minutes each, the opponents will be given 5 minutes each, and those thought to be neutral on the matter will be given 5 minutes each. The applicant will then have 10 minutes for rebuttal. All questions must be directed through the chair. Any evidence to be considered must be submitted to the hearing body for public access and to become a part of the record. All written testimony received both for and against prior to the hearing shall be summarized by staff and presented briefly to the hearing body during the staff report. Testimony and evidence must be directed toward the applicable review criteria contained as indicated in the staff report, the comprehensive plan, or the applicable land use regulations which the person believes to apply to the decision. failure to raise an issue accompanied by statements or evidence sufficient to afford the decision maker and the parties an opportunity to respond to the issue may preclude appeal to the Land Use Board of Appeals based on that issue. Failure of the applicant to raise constitutional or other issues relating to proposed conditions of approval with sufficient specificity to allow the local government to respond to the issue may preclude an action for damages in circuit court. Everyone present is encouraged to testify, even if it is only to concur with previous testimony. At this time, I would ask that any member of the hearing body who has a conflict of interest to please indicate the nature and extent of the conflict and whether you intend to participate in or abstain from hearing the present matter. Okay. Also, if any member of the hearing body has had any ex parte contact with anyone prior to this hearing, including a visit to the site, please declare the nature and extent of such contact at this time. Okay. Does any member of the audience have any questions for any commissioner regarding conflict of interest or ex parte contact? Okay. The public hearing will be conducted as follows. First, we'll have the staff report, and Brianna will be giving that. Then the applicant will testify not more than 15 minutes. Other proponents, not more than 5 minutes. Any opposition, not more than 5 minutes. And those that are neutral can testify, but not for more than 5 minutes. Rebuttal by the applicant will be limited to 10 minutes, and then we will close public testimony. Then we'll have questions, discussion by us, and no additional testimony will be allowed unless specifically allowed by the chair. A decision shall be made by the hearing body at the close of the hearing, or the matter will be continued to a date certain in the future. This will be the only notice of that date you will receive. Does anyone have any questions about the procedure outlined for this hearing? Okay. Brianna.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Chair Savory. Good evening, Planning Commission. My name is Brianna. I'm an associate planner with the City of Canby, and we are here today to discuss the appeal of the denial of the subdivision 21-02, the Hemmerling subdivision. Here we have the subject property. It's at 102 Northeast Territorial Road at Territorial and Locust. It's approximately 3.17 acres, and it is zoned R1 low density residential. It's bordered on the north and south by low density residential, on the east by R1.5 medium density residential, and to the west by EFU Clackamas County Farming Zone, Agricultural Zone. A brief history of the project. The original proposal included a zone and comprehensive map change from R1 to R1.5, again, low to medium density residential. There was a request for a variance for the size of 2 of the proposed lots, and overall it was a 20-lot subdivision with 2 public streets and 1 alley. You can see the old plan here. Here are the responses to each of the applications. The zone and comprehensive map change was denied by Mayor and Council after receiving a recommendation of denial by Planning Commission. The variance for the size of 2 lots was withdrawn by the applicant under staff recommendation. And the 20-lot subdivision was denied by Planning Commission, appealed to Mayor and Council by the applicant, and remanded back to Planning Commission with new information, specifically a new subdivision design that conforms to the R1 standards applied to the property. Here are the approval criteria for the subdivision. They are pretty standard. Again, we're not trying to change the zone. We're not varying from any of the standards in the R1 zone. So we're looking at parking, we're looking at the standards of the zone, the processes for subdivisions and land divisions, as well as the street alignments and configurations. The applicant's proposal, in short, is to subdivide the property into 15 low-density residential lots. All of these lots meet the development standards of the R1 zone, meaning the lot dimensions, At this time, they're not proposing structures, but they have shown the building envelopes on the parcels that would meet the standard R1 setbacks. And the total average lot size in the subdivision is 7,186 square feet, which is well within the range of the 7,000 to 10,000 square foot range required by the zone. Here's the new layout. As you can see, the alley is gone, and we just have the two public street stubs. There are 3 notes that I want to point out about this plan. The first is a 20-foot reciprocal access easement for the benefit of lots 13 and 14. This is included as a condition of approval, and it will just be to record this easement in perpetuity. Number 2 is the structures that will be built on lots 13 and 14 will need to be sprinkled. We've run this by Canby Fire Department, and they are okay with this. This will be an additional condition of approval. And lastly, we have lot 6, which is just under 7,000 square feet. It's 40 square feet shy. But again, the average lot size meets the R1 standards, and no lots are under the allowable minimum of 5,000 square feet. This is a condition that came out of our discussions with Public Works. It's been included in the latest iteration of the staff report, and it reads as follows. The applicant shall construct an ADA accessible crosswalk with materials consistent with Public Works design standards across Locust and Northeast Territorial. The exact location of material shall be determined with consult from the applicant and the city's consulting engineer and Public Works. Here are the 2 conditions of approval that I mentioned previously. 13, which is in the staff report, but we are adding the underlined text at the end, or meet other standards acceptable to the fire district, i.e. the sprinklering of homes. We kind of left that first part in there in case another solution is discussed, but we are anticipating those two need to be sprinkled, and that has it covered there. And then 1 new condition of approval to record the reciprocal access easement for the mutual benefit of the owners of lot 13 and 14 in perpetuity. And with that, staff believe the additional information is sufficient to address Planning Commission's final findings of denial, and we recommend that you approve SUB 21-01 as amended, including the conditions of approval discussed during this hearing. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Brianna. Any questions for staff? Jeff, Commissioner Mills.
I'm confused about what is a remand and what is new. You know, a remand to me is usually something that's sent back to me to be corrected or modified based upon our determination of it because a higher power has disagreed with what we've done. I get that. I understand that. We've never seen what's being presented to us tonight. How is that a remand?
It's a remand because the city council held that they could not consider the subdivision application because they took your recommendation to deny the zone change and comp plan change. So instead of withdrawing that, the applicant asked to make revisions and come back to you under the zoning that's on the property.
That still doesn't answer that. It's not a remand. It's a new application. I don't want to beat this to death, but that's my position. I don't think you've satisfied any support, provided any real support for the fact that this is a remand, other than that staff has said it's a remand. It's not a remand. It's a new application for an R1. So, and I'm not taking to issue that application at this moment. My question, my difficulty is that you've submitted something to us and called it a remand, and it's not. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Mills, if I could address that maybe slightly more. In terms of a vehicle for sending this back, because the zone change was, and the comprehensive plan change were denied on this, and the applicant requested that this be sent back, as a way to address this based on the base zone of the property. It's completely within their rights and legally sound to send this back to the Planning Commission. Our legal counsel is involved with that as well.
I have a question,
Yes.
follow up on Jeff. So is there any material difference between a remand, being what we got here, and the process for this being a totally new application?
In this case, essentially, you're seeing, materially, there's another option. They could have gone through and submitted a brand-new application and sent that before you. The council really wanted us to basically send this back because it essentially would comply with the code. They were against the idea of a rezone of this property. They supported the notion of it going back and being considered as a standard application based on the zone. So I think really the council prerogative in this situation is to send it back to Planning Commission. That was their decision.
If we're speaking materially, this meeting was noticed separately from any previous meeting. The applicants provided new plans and new responses to the R1 design review criteria. So in my opinion, they submitted a substantially complete application that if we were to consider it a new application, we wouldn't be asking for anything additional. So, whether it's, materially, we have all of the information and we have distributed it in the same manner as if it was a new application.
I guess, thank you, Jeff. I hadn't even thought of that, but so whatever we do here tonight, if somebody that was in opposition to this project decided to go to LUBA or another entity, based upon whether it's a remand or whether a new application is what is called for, I don't mean to be splitting hairs here, but I think Commissioner Mills has a point. If indeed, we're holding this hearing, and down the road somebody says, well, no, there's supposed to be a new application, and are we spinning our wheels here and wasting the applicant's time and our time? Now, I'm retired, so I don't care, and and I don't have to spend any time watching NCIS reruns with my wife. But having said that, that would be my concern,
Well, at that point, we would defer to the city attorney, Joe, who actually helped make this call at city council that it was appropriate to remand it back to you all.
And specifically the date of the hearing, so he was very much involved with that. So I would argue that it's legally sound in terms of that process.
Chair,
Yeah, yes.
microphone work with me. Is there, so I'm newer to this, is there like a threshold of how much a plan can change that has been submitted that teeters it from making adjustments and sending it back, or it has to become a whole new thing?
This didn't fall into a modification process. Essentially, this was looked at as something that the underlying land use authority for this as a planning commission and council with legal counsel made the recommendation to move it back to planning commission based and to your point, these are based on clear and objective criteria for the subdivision now. There is no discretionary criteria that the planning commission is looking at. If there was discretionary criteria, perhaps there could have been another way of looking at this. But these are clear and objective standards that are supposed to be looked at based on clear and objective standards.
Okay.
So I'd like to take a quick poll of the commissioners present. Are you comfortable moving ahead with the way that this has been presented to us this evening?
Yes, yeah, I am. From looking through it, it looks like the biggest adjustment is that it's low density instead of medium density. And that's the biggest change I see, other than, changing around lines to make it meet that criteria. I'm comfortable.
Okay. Mr. Wainwright.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with continuing with their application.
Okay. Commissioner Patton.
I as well will not have a problem moving forward with it. To me, it seems as that, it's still a development on this piece of property, and they modified it to correct the issues that needed to be corrected. And so I mean, unless I am wrong, I really don't see a problem with it.
Okay, Commissioner Mills.
I did watch the city council meeting for this, and I did see the city attorney proclaim a remand. He's wrong. I'm not an attorney, but I've been doing this a long time. You can't take a plan and completely change it and say it's remanded back to a group that's never seen it. In other words, you basically have thrown out the R1.5. Another comment is they took the R1 to city council, they took it right around us. Now, if I was a chair, I'd be a little concerned about that. So that was done, and I think the decision was made to remand back that R1 to us, which is what we're seeing tonight, but we've never seen it before. It's not a remand, it's an abuse. The applicant was appraised, I understand, of the risk of trying to go for R15 with a zone change and a general plan change, and they elected to take that risk, and they lost. I think they should reapply.
Chair, I have a quick question.
Sure.
So on a previous application, the memory center, it was failed because of parking. They made changes or had additional information, and then the city council said, no, the planning commission has not seen this new information, we're remanding it back to them, and we move forward on it. If that's the case, would that not run afoul for that one as well?
That's different.
Well,
So then what is the difference?
I
'Cause
guess arguably there's new information in both cases. So, I mean, there was new information that went back, and there's new information tonight again, so I think there's some consistency between the two.
New information is allowed as part of it. New information would be allowed in that case, and it would be remanded back to us, but the overall application was unchanged. It was modified. This one, you could say it's modified in that it's gone from R15 to R1. It's gone from 20 lots to, I guess, 15 or whatever it is. I'm just troubled by, I feel like they're working the system, and that's what they're supposed to do. That's their job, to try to get as much as they can for as little as they can. I think the city is always accommodating in this case because they do value new development, and they understand that they've got to ensure the future of this city. So I appreciate all those things. I just point out that I think that at some point you've got to look at what your code says, and in a previous case where I was the lone dissenter, and in this case, it just feels like we're allowing them to work the system, and that's fine. We've made that decision. I'm troubled by it. I don't pick up that anybody else is particularly troubled by it. So I just wanted to get that out there because I guess that's why I'm here. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, I guess if that's the case, then is there a way to get some more clarification on that and where those thresholds are for the next time this rolls around?
It's a point we'll bring with council and discuss specifically. It's a little bit out of our hands. Council and our legal counsel and city council directed this.
Okay.
We were not saying this is the avenue. So to your point, if this was not an appropriate way to do this and it should have been kind of submitted as a full resubmittal of an application as it would possibly occur versus a remand, that option was never discussed.
Okay.
So sounds to me like most people, most of the commissioners are in favor of moving forward, so that's what we'll do. And so I'd like to invite the applicant to come forward. Please state your name and address.
My name's Hal Keever, and I work for Atwell LC. My address is 9755 Southwest Barnes Road, 97225. So a little bit of hello again. And we were, in our original application, we were trying to provide needed density, and that's why we had asked for the additional lots, the increase in density. I know that there's some troubled, thoughts going on about why it was remanded and so forth, but part of that, I believe, in the city attorney's mind and the planner's mind, is that I personally, during that first hearing, asked for a continuance so that we could submit new information because it was clear that the Planning Commission wanted lower density, and that continuance for additional information was denied. So that's why we appealed it to City Council, and what we learned out of the process was that the leadership of Canby really didn't want that increased density. And so what we went back to the drawing boards, went to the 15-lot subdivision. We're meeting all the development standards within the zone, not asking for any variances. And we've worked with the fire marshal in how we provide fire protection on all the lots. And so we definitely agree with the staff report. We agree with the conditions of approval, taking into account the amended number 13, and we ask for you to approve the subdivision. Be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Commissioner Boatwright.
Yeah, I'd like to clear one thing up. Your continuance, I was chairing the meeting that night. I did not deny a continuance. I offered you a date in the future, and you wanted it in a couple of days, and that couldn't have been done. That was the only reason we didn't have a continuance, because we've offered those many times. So it wasn't that you weren't offered a chance to submit other information. It was that you wanted it sooner than we could accommodate you. That was the only reason.
Any other thoughts or comments? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do we have any other proponents that would like to speak in favor of this project? Are there any opponents that would like to speak in opposition to this project? In that case, no need for rebuttal. So I will close the public hearing portion of this. And
Are there any neutral?
oh, neutral. Are there any neutral parties that would like to speak? Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so we'll move on, and the next thing we'll be doing is questions, if any further questions to the staff. Okay? We'll start with Commissioner Mills. We're in the discussion and deliberation portion of this, and we'll make a decision. So.
I have no comments at this time, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Commissioner Heath.
Sorry, what? Oh, me?
Yeah, you.
Okay. So first, I would just like to say I'm glad to see that the reduction in lots and that we're not changing the zoning, because that I wasn't even at that meeting, and it caused quite a bit of heartburn for me. I like the easement. I think sprinkling those two houses is great. I still am, it's a trick of the mind as to why that one lot is 40 square feet smaller or whatever. But I do want to go on record as saying that I am a big fan of agriculture, and it breaks my heart that this land will now have houses on it, because that is beautiful farmland there, and now it will be gone. And that is the side of town that has that type of soil, and every time a development goes over top of it, it just breaks my heart a little more. So I really think that in the future, the city needs to do more to set up some sort of thing where we can preserve some of this ag land before it is all gone. That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Patton. Commissioner Heeb, I'm sorry.
I like the modifications that have been made by it. That corner lot, it's been fixed. I believe it was 17 last time, right there on the corner. It just would have been, kind of ugly, kind of cramped in there. But the way it's laid out here, I'm a fan of it. And, it looks good to me.
Commissioner Boatright.
I have no problems with the new plans.
I have no problems with the new plan. I have a problem, like Commissioner Mills, with the process, but I have no real issue with the new plans. So I intend to vote in favor. So I will entertain a motion to approve. Commissioner Mills, do you have further discussion? No. Oh, okay. I'll entertain a motion to appeal or approve APP 21-02 of subdivision SUB 2102 application for the Hammerlane subdivision.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. And that's it. We'll move quickly on to items of interest from the planning staff. The next regularly scheduled meeting is what?
That was incorrect on the agenda, because it's Labor Day, September 6th.
That's right.
Labor Day?
I expect everyone to be here. Especially you, Brianna.
I'll be here.
Okay, me too. I have nothing going on. I'm beyond the barbecuing stage of my life. So, no, there will be no meeting on the 6th. Okay. Well, I guess we wouldn't have a quorum then.
So that'll be the next one, be the 20th?
13th,
The 13th?
September 13th.
Okay. Do we have any other items of interest from the Planning Commission to the staff?
Commissioner Savory, just a few things. Just thank you for your participation along with council for the food cart discussion. Really appreciated your comments. We're still working on that. Brianna did an excellent job of presenting that. And coming back with the comments to the comments and the questions that were provided, putting together some information on that. I don't have a date for you yet, but that is in motion.
So I have a question about that. It's kind of a passing. So if we go ahead and approve food carts for Canby, will the location, whatever it is, come before us?
Yes, I mean, that's part of that discussion. I think the full discussion is the locations of where it is allowed, both in terms of individual food carts as well as pods.
The reason that I ask is that there have been, for example, the Dahlia just down the road here never came before this group, never. And I'm not sure that it would have passed muster if it had, but it flew right by us. So I'm concerned that something that has such overwhelming support at the city council level and at the staff level. I just want to make sure that all the T's are crossed, I's are dotted, and that it does come before this body. Is that?
That's the plan, yeah. It's
Okay.
legislative action, and you will be making a recommendation.
Okay. Do we have a date that we might be, I mean, any,
It's going to be later this year, but we don't have a specific date. Part of that is getting a work session. That'll be our next thing, is coming back to the Planning Commission and City Council yet again in work session. That will be an opportunity for the Planning Commission to raise those items specifically so that we can put together an ordinance that would then be the following step that would be sent to the Planning Commission and to the council. So it'll be the work session's the next one. The tricky part of that is getting enough space on, if we're going to do a regular council work session day, to have enough. I'm not sure what they have on their agenda.
okay. Yes, Commissioner Patton.
I was not aware that because I was not on the commission at the time, that the Dahlia did not go through the Planning Commission. Is that correct?
Predates my time here, so I'm not sure what happened on that process. It was several years ago, I believe.
Okay, so my question is that the City Council is super jazzed about the beer library, and so I'm assuming that will come across our desk, correct?
You're absolutely correct.
Okay.
That's going to be coming sooner than later, so just to let you know that's moving forward. Yes.
Okay.
There's an application we're reviewing right now for that.
Would we have to recuse ourselves if we like beer?
That may be a unanimous situation for most people.
I'm just checking in. I mean,
Actually, I don't like beer, so there you go.
Okay, we're
We'll at
good.
least have one.
And I can't drink, so there you go.
Yeah, okay.
All righty, so I will now entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you so much.
I think you